we're going to create an artwork inspired by the artist Paul Klee. Paul Klee loved to use colors, and he felt he could express emotions and feelings with colors. So if he wanted to create a picture that was dark and moody, he might use a lot of neutral colors and purples and blues or cool colors. I want you to be thinking about the way the colors you choose today would make somebody feel or would make you feel. The first step in our project today is to divide our paper into 16 equal-sized rectangles or squares. And the way that we are going to do that is by folding our paper. The first step is going to be taking the top of our paper and folding it down to the bottom. When I do that, I line the corners up as best I can. I put my finger in the middle. I slide my pointer finger of the other hand down to crease, and then I go to the left and to the right. The second step is going to be going from right to left. So I'm going to take the right side of my paper, I'm going to line it up with the left, hold my finger, run my finger of the opposite hand over, and crease. And now I'm going to repeat each of those steps one more time. So I'm going to take the top of my paper, fold it down to the bottom, line the edges up as best I can, hold it down with my finger, slide my finger and crease from side to side. And finally, I'm going right to left and crease. Now I have one tiny little piece of paper, and when I unfold my paper, I will have a total of 16 boxes. In each of these boxes is going to be, you're going to write a letter of your name. So we're going to start out by writing our name and repeating it over and over. If you have 4 letters in your name, I would encourage you to add the first letter of your last name as well. So for instance, if my name was John, John, and my last name was Smith, I would write John and put an S in this box. My name is Steve, which has 5 letters, so I don't need to worry about that. The most important thing is that your letters are connecting with the edges of your box, and the goal is to touch as many edges of the box as many times as you can. So one thing you don't want to do is draw your letters without touching any edge of the box. This does not work. Or your letter just touching 1 or 2 edges of this box. That does not work. This does not work. What you really want is for your letter to touch as many edges of the box as possible. So if I was doing an S, I start my S on the right side of the box. It touches the top of the box, curves to the left side of the box, back over to the right, bottom, and left. So I got my S to touch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 times. A letter that you might be wondering, how do I create, could be a letter A, because the letter A really only touches the corners right here, and then at the top of the box. This is perfectly acceptable. If you wanted to touch the edge more, you could draw a curved shaped A. And now this A touches this edge top here. So your choice there. I'm going to start off with my S. Touches the top edge, curves back, bottom, and back edge. I'm going to switch colors for my T. Now for my T, I'm going to get a little fancy and add 2 lines on the sides. Then there's going to be a line going across the top, straight down, and I'll add a little line at the bottom, ST. Now I'm on to my E. I could do a capital letter T like I did the T, or I could do a lowercase e as well. Now my E touches the top, bottom, left, and right edge. My next letter is the letter V, and I'm going to create this a lot like I showed you the A on the back. So my V is going to be kind of a rounded V, so I get the most out of my edges. Since these colors are very similar, I'm going to go over this with a different color. And I'm going to make it a little thicker too, to cover up a little bit of my mistake. The cool thing about 5 letters is I'll get a really cool diagonal pattern. So if you have a 4-letter name, by adding an extra initial, you will also get this cool diagonal pattern that's going to be created. So now I have written my name, S-T-E-V-E. I'm going to have this extend all the way, and I'm also going to add a little embellishment to my E there. I'm going to let the video fast forward while I finish writing my name, and then we'll talk about coloring. I've completed writing my name and filling each of my boxes. You can see how my letters really come all the way to the edge of my box. Every opportunity I have to touch an edge of the box, I do. Since I have 5 letters in my name and I have 16 boxes, my name ended right here, but I didn't stop. I continued right here as if my name would have continued on and on. Now it's time to add the abstract aspect of this, which is going to be coming in and coloring the spaces. One of the big things that you have to do when you do this is color until you touch a line, and the creases around the boxes do not count as lines. So if I was coloring in this space of my S, I don't stop coloring right when I touch the edge of the box. My coloring continues into the area of the T because I need to color until I get to a line. My coloring does not stop here at the edge of this box. It comes down below till it gets to that next S. You go all the way until you touch a line. So that space is complete. Another area that would showcase something similar is this area of the E. I would color in this area of the E. But I don't stop at the crease. I stop when I get to a line. So my color will flow over here and into the next S space. So I start to create these shapes of color in between and in the negative space of the letters. Take your time coloring, don't rush this process. The more time you take on your coloring, the nicer your image is going to look and the more advanced it's going to look. So if you want to impress people with this picture, it all comes with the coloring. And I would also add that you don't need to stick with coloring with the material you've started with. I started with crayons. I can move on and use markers to color my image as well. So let's go over to this space of the T here, and I could color in this section with my marker. By using marker and crayons, I get multiple textures. I'm going to continue coloring my picture and fast forward while I do. Here you can see that I've added some different lines and patterns to the artwork, as well as using marker over top of crayon to get some different effects. Experiment and have fun.